Welcome back, everybody. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at creating users and applying permissions and basically dictating what it is that we need to understand about doing non-root users. Non-root users being in Windows Server, the administrator role is how you normally log in when you first spin up a server, but you don't normally ever log in as the administrator login. You've been given the administrator role. That's what we're going to do here. So underneath the users tab, we're going to right click in here and create add. We're going to type in my login is going to be rriker, and I'll say rriker is the username, and the password is going to be something kind of long, and let me just make sure I retype that in real quick. And that should do it. If it doesn't, it's going to squawk at us. Okay, username or password has an invalid format. It's not long enough, is what that means. So I've got to come in here, and I know it was the password because it always is whenever I do this, and I can never remember how far to actually take it. It's the password requirements are rather involved. There it goes. So now that I've created the user and I've got a really strong password, now I've got to go over to permissions, right click in here and say add permission, and then I've got to go to users and groups and say add user, grab rriker, add him, and then click on OK, and then give him all privilege levels. So he's going to get administrator and click on OK. So now rriker is going to give him the administrator role here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to log out by just closing this guy out. I'll come back over here to this guy. I'll come up here to vSphere client, and I will log in as rriker and the password that I just set. If I could type it in right, that'd be great. So once it does that, we'll give it a couple seconds to go ahead, and now it's authenticating. I'm authenticated as rriker. Now if you look in the lower right hand corner of your screen, you'll see that I am logged in as rriker and not root. Since we only took 2 minutes to get this job done, so we're going to go into the next one, which is going to be Active Directory. So we're going to go to configuration, I'm going to click on DNS and routing, and I want to make sure that the DNS server is set up correctly so I can reach that. Next thing I want to do is to go to authentication services, and I want to properties, and I want to be able to log in via AD. So user directory services, I'm going to click down here and say Active Directory, and the domain name is going to be rit.com. I'm going to say join domain, and I'm going to type in rriker and my domain credentials, and then click on join domain. If everything works out, it should only take a couple seconds, and we should get prompted where rit.com will go all caps, and it says that errors in Active Directory operations. Okay, so let me go ahead and trusted domains, go in here, and this has caused me issues in the past, which, let's see here. Oh, I'm okay. I am connected via AD, so I'm going to click on OK. So I am there. It just took a couple seconds. For whatever reason, this error popped up. I don't know why. But now that I've done that, so it did work out correctly. Your DNS has to be set up correctly. So now that I've got that, I need to go over here to users, and I'm sorry, not users, permissions. Right click in here and go add permission, and then you go add, and then drop down arrow here. Now it says that there's domain is server, which right now is not what I need. I need to go ahead and click cancel and cancel out of here. One thing that I've known is you have to log out and log back in. If that doesn't work, I've had to go as far as rebooting. So rriker and my password. Assuming that I typed that in correctly. And I did. So then we'll go back to permissions, our configuration, make sure that we're still associated. RIT, which is exactly what I want. We're going to go to, you can, I believe in here, the properties, if you type in trusted domains, this is where that would get placed. In the routing, you put your default gateway. For permissions, we're going to right click in here and go add permission. I'm going to click on add, but from the drop down, okay, so it still doesn't have the domain that we need. So what I'm going to do is, and I've had this problem in the past, especially in the virtual world, where I've got to reboot. So if we go back to summary and we type in reboot, or just click here, reboot, it says, it's not in maintenance mode, are you sure you want to reboot? Yes, I don't have to. Normally you're going to put it in maintenance mode, reboot it, bring it back up, take it out of maintenance mode, and away you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and do a continuous ping to ping ESXi 6-7-T. We're going to continue to ping this guy until he comes back up. And there it goes, the connection was lost, so we're going to say cancel. So this is a way for you to test how long, and it doesn't take long because it's in a virtual environment, it's a couple minutes maybe. And so we've already started losing pings, which is good, which means that the back end information is working the way that it needs to. And then as soon as once the operation has commenced and he's rebooted, we should be able to log in, and then once we've logged in, we should be able to associate. Now I've always had to do this. I was just wondering if I'd get lucky and not have to do that, but what ends up happening is even though there was a failure in Active Directory, as soon as I've always had to reboot. I'm not sure if that's a physical issue, or I'm sorry, a software thing because it's running in a virtual environment. Although I've never actually had to join a physical host to an Active Directory domain, so I don't know what that would look like in a physical aspect of things. So now that we've got that guy going on, we're going to go. The beauty here is I can log in to this guy and I can see that we are almost done being loaded. So once this guy is completely finished loading, so this is where having out of band management would definitely come into play and be very helpful, because then you can just log in and do what you got to do. And as soon as that guy's done, which will just be another minute or so, once that's done, which it should be right now, just it is, we're going to go back over to our other PC, which is 94. We're going to say log in. So now that we've got that, we should be able to go in and permissions, there should be, Active Directory should be there now. We're going to click on OK, go to permissions, right click here, add permissions, add, and then from the drop down arrow, okay, it's still not there though. Not sure why it's not there. Users, configuration, authentication services. Okay, so the domain did not take, so we're going to have to go join that again. So I'm actually kind of glad you're seeing these issues happen, because it does happen, and when it does, it's kind of a pain. Click on join domain. Let's see. Okay, that time it worked. Click on OK. So now that I've done that, and I go over to permissions, I right click in here, go add permission. Let's see if it changed anything. Okay, there it goes. So we're going to grab that. I'm going to scroll down to domain admins, click on add, click on OK, and click on OK. And now that I've added domain admins, oh actually I need to go in here and properties, and I need to say administrator. So there we go. So now I'm going to log out, and I'm going to log back in. So this time now it's going to be RIT whack rriker, and then my password. And normally you could use Windows session credentials. Well, I'll test that out here in just a minute. Now it's going to call out to Active Directory and say, is this person authorized to authenticate? And it's going to work. And there we go. So now I'm logged in as RIT/RRiker, which is exactly what you'd want. If you go to events, you'll see that RRiker at this IP address logged in. We're going to log out, and I'm going to go back to this guy again, bolt the vSphere client, and now I should be able to log in with Windows session credentials. So this happens, we're going to click on login, and it should allow me to connect as well. So you can do it either way. So once that goes from loading to main, which is what it's exactly doing. So you could have typed it in both ways, but I wanted to show you it would work, and that's basically all there really is to it. So now this particular device has been added to the domain, and if you go over to configuration, that's exactly what you'd expect to see. That's how this operationally works. Beyond that, guys, that's pretty much it for local user, and then you want to join via AD, this is how you would go about doing that. Until next time, guys, thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.